Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Time Crime. I know what you're thinking, not another crime podcast. Well, hold on, guys. This is a crime podcast like no others. This is Small Time Crime, where we focus on the smaller crimes that no one hears about, and they definitely don't get the attention they deserve. You won't see these on the 6 o'clock news. They barely even hit the headlines, and you wouldn't believe them unless you heard them here from us, folks. All right, we've got my co-host here, Ella.
Hello.
Ella, why don't you start us off today?
Okay. I'll start off with a real dum-dum.
Okay.
James Blankenship, 22, pled guilty to a charge of breaking and entering into his mother's home against her will.
Ooh.
So according to police, James' mom came home and found her son attempting to break into her home through a first-floor window.
So they must have had a rocky relationship, I would say. Eh?
Yeah, the young man has not been welcomed in his mom's house in the past couple months due to some ongoing issues. I'm sure
drug use or something.
I'm gonna guess, judging by the fact he feels he needs to break into his mom's house rather than just be like, "Hey, mom, I'm coming over."
I got sidebar. I had this one friend, and he had a mentally challenged older brother, and so they had their rooms connecting, and his brother had a job, and his other one was an addict, and he dug a tunnel in the closet and snuck in his brother's room to steal his change jar. Yeah. There's my experience with that. But anyway, sorry.
Okay, so he hadn't been welcomed in a while. So upon being discovered by his mom, James fled.
Yeah.
A neighbor alerted police that he had called police and said, "Hey, there's a man running and hiding behind homes in our area." So
I just been imagining it in my head, running behind backyards, jumping fences.
Yeah, it's your mom. She knows who you were.
Yeah.
You're caught.
Hey, Ma.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just trying to get a bowl of cereal.
So police find this guy hiding in a crawl space not far from his mom's house. At the time of the crime, the accused told officers he didn't think he could be arrested and that they were doing something wrong. You can't arrest me for that because it's only burglary if it happens at night.
Oh. That's his thought, or that's...
Oh, no, that's his thought.
That's his thought.
He said, "You can't arrest me. I broke into her house during the day. Burglary is only at night." Despite his misconception, he realized after some info from the police that he can, in fact, be arrested during the daytime for burglary.
Daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter the time.
He was sentenced to 180 days in prison.
Okay.
And $100 fine.
$100?
Yeah.
He must have broke something.
I don't know. Why do you know that?
Why? Just because why would there be... I guess the fine. I was thinking for his mom.
I don't know. But the audacity to think that... I can't even imagine where this man's mind is that you can only be arrested for burglary at night.
Drugs will do that to you.
Can you imagine what would happen during the day if that were the case?
There would be
the purge.
Well, there would be a lot of freaking meth heads awake during the day.
Yeah, I guess.
Wouldn't be any bikes riding at 4 a.m. You know what I mean?
No, it'd be a daytime thing.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, crime's fine as long as it's during the day.
Yeah. Okay.
So no genius here.
No, definitely not. Okay, I got a bit of a longer one here for you. Okay. Have you ever heard of Colton Harris Moore?
No.
No?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, well, let me give you a little backstory on this guy, okay?
Sure.
He was born March 22nd, 1991 in Mount Vernon, Washington. He grew up with his mother on Camano Island. Colton didn't have the best upbringing, according to his neighbors. They had made several calls to Child Protective Services, believing he was neglected and abused. So, good job, guys, calling you to notice their problem. Call him in, right? His father, Gordon, was a well-known drug user and was in prison while Moore was a toddler. So his mom, Pam, remarried shortly after. And then his stepfather died when he was about 7 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So from the
doesn't sound... Yeah, it sounds like a little bit of a bumpy road for sure.
A lot of male figures in your life leaving and stuff like that, right? From the time Moore was in first grade, she knew something was off about him. Just sort of a disconnect. He wouldn't listen to his teachers, started altercations at school, sometimes deliberately break things around the house. According to a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation, Moore said that his mother drank and became mean, breaking his possessions. I'd be pissed too if my drunk-ass mom was breaking my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would, you're 7 years old and your mom breaking your stuff, you're going to get mad. You're going to get upset. Yeah. So with all the issues he was having at home and school, Moore started running away. Started living wild, they say, at the age of 7 years old. He would break into vacation homes in the area, stealing blankets, food, water, and then disappear in the forest for days. Man, like this kid's.
That sounds like a cry for help.
Oh yeah, but he's a genius. Like I remember when I would like run away, it'd be like an hour, and I don't even think they knew I was missing. You know what I mean? This guy's gone for like days at a time, learned how to survive in the bush by himself. Like genius. So this went on for several years before he got caught. He was able to get away, never really got busted. His first conviction came around the age of 12 years old. It was for stolen property. Also around this time, it's rumored that his father walked into the woods after an argument at a family barbecue. He was arrested shortly after and never heard from again.
I mean, he's in jail. Yeah. He walked into the woods and it was never heard from again. Is a way better story than walked into the woods and was arrested.
I mean, I'm just giving the facts.
I'm just saying, like, wouldn't it have been better? He walked into the woods
and never seen
again.
In that voice, exactly, too, right?
Yeah.
So by the time Colton was 13, he had 3 more convictions for possession of stolen property. He'd been diagnosed with depression, ADD, intermittent explosive disorder. So each of these convictions, he'd do like a 10-day stint at a detention center or community hours. Nothing major, right? Until he was about 17 years old, where he was sent to 3 years in a halfway house in April of 2008.
Ooh.
Yeah. So shortly into his stay at the halfway house, he left and didn't come back. He didn't return.
I probably wouldn't either.
Just walked out the front door, didn't come back.
I don't think a halfway house sounds like a very pleasant place to be.
No. So according to local sheriffs, Moore returned to his old ways. He would often slip into homes, use their computers, soak in for hot baths, steal some ice cream from the freezer, just do some...
He's just trying to survive, man.
Just surviving this boy. So now his theft started to escalate at the time, increasing in the value of cash, the property. He would initially steal what he needed for like living in the woods as a survivalist, but then it got a little crazier. He broke into a homeowner's, someone's house, used the computer and their credit card, and he ordered some bear mace and some $6,500 night vision goggles.
He was loading up on supplies.
Yeah, so it's getting a little bit more than just surviving at this point. I mean, but hey. So he also had a nickname and a calling card. He would do his robberies barefoot and leave like footprints behind. So he's known as the Barefoot Bandit.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a good name. It is. He's like referred to as like a modern day Jesse James. So like on May 30th, 2010, police found a handwritten note and $100 at a vet clinic. The note read, "Drive by, had some extra cash. Please use this money to take care of the animals."
Aww.
From Colton Harris Moore, aka the Barefoot Bandit.
He wrote, aka the Barefoot Bandit.
Yeah, he wrote. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So around this time too, his fame started to rise. This is when I started. I found out about Colton. He had a Facebook page, and like he was starting to come up to like Canada and doing some crimes up here, and like just like Vancouver area and stuff like that. So yeah. It's Moore suspected for being responsible for approximately 100 thefts in Washington, Idaho, and California, including bicycles, automobiles, speedboats, and light aircrafts. You heard me right, aircrafts. So Colton taught himself how to fly planes. He read like handbooks, watched like DVDs, flight simulators, like taught himself how to fly a plane. So he stole a Cessna 182 valued at $150,000. Despite never having flying lessons, he was able to take off.
What?
But the landing was where he got a little dicey, and he crash landed that summer.
Okay.
Yeah. But he survived. He was a survivor.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a survivor. He was so he's on the run, right? Like he's on the run. This point.
Oh, you stole a plane now.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. You pissed off someone with a lot of money.
Oh yeah. So in June, this is all like coming like this is like the final all these stories are gonna be close together. So June 2010, he was suspected of vehicle thefts. He made it out to Illinois, from Washington.
Okay.
So on July 4th,
Done that drive. It's pretty far.
it's a long drive. Oh yeah, stealing cars and hot cars the whole way. Woo,
Yeah.
man. So on July 4th, 4th of July, he stole a Cessna 400, a single engine plane, from the Bloomington, Indiana airport. They know it was him because they found the barefoot prints outside the hangar.
Shut
He left
up.
his calling card. He's like reminds me of like the Wet Bandits from Home Alone leaving their calling card. You know what I mean? So yeah, on July 6th, an indictment was released from a federal judge. This indictment cites Moore for interstate transportation of stolen property, airplane theft, a bunch of other stuff related to that. They put a bounty out on this boy for $10,000.
Oh, that seems low.
Seems really low, and I mean, you're gonna rat out the modern day Jesse James for $10,000? I don't know. Depends what situation you're in, I guess. The Cessna he stole in Indiana was found crashed on the shoreline of waters of Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas.
Oh yeah, he's going on vacay.
He wanted a little vacay, yeah. So shortly after they saw the plane, break-ins started happening across the island. Moore's up to his old game. I feel like they don't mess around like that.
I was going to say, no, I've been there. They don't seem like they mess around.
I don't feel comfortable leaving the resort.
And the resort, we were specifically told not to leave the resort area. We were. Do not leave Paradise Island unsupervised under any circumstances.
Yeah. So good. I mean, hey, whatever. So on July 11th, Moore was captured. Just before dawn at Harbor Island in the Bahamas.
That's kind of disappointing.
I know.
I feel like I wanted him to get away with it a few more times.
I know, me too. So local officers picked up his trail. He stole a 44-foot boat, power boat from a marina. And before his arrest, he threw his, they pull over this boat or whatever, right? He throws his computer in the water. I guess they wanted to fry soak her up. And he put a gun to his head.
Oh.
Yeah, threatened to kill himself.
Dang it.
But the police talked him out of killing himself, and they put him into custody. So on December 16th, Moore was sentenced to court for 7 years in prison.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't love that for him.
No, but he's out now.
Okay.
So July 2016, Moore was released on probation to a halfway house. We know what happened last time, folks. He secured a job at his defense attorney's Seattle's law firm. So he's got
what?
Yeah. Doing.
I love Seattle for things like this.
Yeah.
Like Seattle's wild.
They do low-level clerical work, right?
He's like a receptionist.
Yeah. So he's got to pay back $129,000 in restitution that he owes the victim. I mean, one of the planes was worth $150, so I don't know how they did that math, but so there's another spin on this one too. Part of the charges and all that stuff. The plea agreement, Moore is not allowed to profit from selling a book about his story.
Ever or until a certain amount?
From what I've got, it's ever.
No.
Yeah, so...
Because I would watch that movie.
I'm waiting for it, because I've told you, I've been investing in the story for a while. I have been waiting for it, and nothing's come up. I'm just waiting. Somebody else wrote a book, and I think, they can buy it, the guy that wrote a book about somebody else, but I want it from Colton.
Oh, yeah, I don't want freaking Joe Smith's version of Colton Harris Moore's story.
Because it's going to be lies. You know what I mean? You don't know what Colton did on the run unless you're sitting with Colton and they're writing the book together under your name.
And he's getting nothing out of it. I wouldn't be volunteering my time for free.
No, not at all. So Colton Harris Moore, the Barefoot Bandit. If you're listening to Colton, give us an update. Let us know how things are going. I'd love to hear from you. Great run, man.
Honestly.
And it didn't seem like, sure, he stole some shit or whatever, but nobody died, nobody got hurt. So that's kind of what I feel like you could root for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling sorry for someone who has enough money to own a plane.
No, and I mean, he didn't steal my airplane.
And so. I'm sure it was insured. I'm sure they got all their, you can't just, it's not your average mom and pop that are owning a private plane. So.
No, God, no.
I mean, it's harder to feel sorry for some of those kinds of people.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go from a super smart criminal to a complete moron.
Okay,
this one is short, but very, very sweet.
Okay, short and sweet.
So, Stettler, Alberta, just outside Red Deer.
Okay, yeah,
Berta.
I think I've been there.
Berta. An 18-year-old Stettler man tried to eat his underwear in hopes that the cotton fabric would absorb alcohol before he took a breathalyzer test.
I've heard of a similar story like this one, actually.
So this guy's name is David Zurfluh.
Okay.
Zurfluh.
Okay.
And he was... Zurfluh ripped out the crotch of his shorts.
Oh, he went for the crotch?
He went for the crotch.
Went for the, Lord. I would have went for a leg myself. I'm assuming he's wearing boxers. I would have went for a leg, not the crotch.
Yeah. He stuffed the fabric in his mouth and then spit it out, chewed on it for a minute, and tried to get, I guess the juices flowing.
Yeah, okay. That'll do it. That'll get something flowing.
So the day that this was heard in court, there was a grade 11 and 12 students doing I did it when I was in, I think about grade 10, we went to the provincial courts and like spent a day there.
Yes,
like
I remember doing that.
seeing what was going on. Anyways, the day that this came up for this proceeding came up in front of the judge, there was grade 11 and 12 students in the room. And so they hear about him. The judge was having to, bang the gavel, like order in the court, because everyone was laughing.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure.
You go right for the crotch. Anyways, so here's the kicker on that bad boy. Mr. Zerfla was acquitted because he blew below 0.8 to begin with. So he didn't even have to chew on his crusty crotch.
Well, I mean, I would have been really drunk for that to do that. Do you even think about that?
Yeah, so the RCMP said after he ran from his vehicle, they found him with a ripped out crotch of his underwear chewing on it. So the reason he was pulled over because he was seen zigzagging down the highway. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
While sitting in the back of the patrol car, Mr. Zerfla was eating his underwear and he's telling them it's an effort to beat the breathalyzer.
So he's admitting it. That's why he's eating. Okay.
So, I mean, he didn't even need to do it to begin with. He was below the legal limit. He was just a shitty driver.
You know what? And we've got a contender for the belt, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give this guy the belt. He's got the belt for today. He's got it. Dumbest criminal award. You don't rip out your crotch, boy. Come on, smarten up.
Get a sock. Grab a corner of your t-shirt.
Anything.
None of them are going to work anyway, but if you need to do your underwear, rip the elastic, rip off a leg. You don't go for the crotch.
I heard of people putting pennies in their mouth. You ever heard that trick?
Yes, I have.
Your tongue? I don't know. You're not going to beat it. It's in your blood.
Your crotch.
If you could see her face, oh my God.
Your crotch. Why? Of all places, do you think that there's some sort of juices there that are going to help you?
Well, there might be, and there are not any juices I want near my mouth at all. I'll tell you that much.
So, moral of the story here, don't go for the crotch.
Don't go for your crotch, guys. No, and you're one dumbass criminal, bud. So I am going to bring this one to University of Miami. So dorms, administrative searches, and searches are commonplace, and students are warned days ahead of time that they can get rid of their bongs, beer bottles, hot plates, and other paraphernalia beforehand. Before they come in, hey, heads up, get rid of your shit, right?
Yeah.
21-year-old English major Jonathan Harrington thought he'd have some fun with the search.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Instead, he ended up handcuffed, dragged to jail, and charged. This boy. Before inspectors arrived, he left lines of white powder on a coffee table and the kitchen counter. Rolled up dollar bills, seven white bills.
He thought he was funny.
Yeah,
he's I'm hilarious.
Little party set up, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So he was arrested on the spot. Spent the night in jail and the following day as well. Because the lines were just powdered sugar and aspirin pills, he says, figured everybody got a chuckle and move on, right? But they tested the white powder, came back positive for cocaine. So Harrington insisted the drug field test yielded was a false positive. His roommate, Kritos, I can't even say this name, Valisodes, I don't even know. Kritos, I'm just going to call him, backs up a story about the powdered sugar prank. Told the police that Harrington tipped off about the prank and they agreed to go along, but he was in his room. He wasn't having anything to do with it. What was I going to say? So yeah, the charges, we do have an update on this one. The charges against Jonathan have been dropped after the lab confirmed that it was powder and not cocaine. So
what a moron.
I guess it's very common for field tests to go
false positive.
False positive. It's very, very common. I actually here's a little here's a fun fact. One of Jay's little fun facts. I watched an episode of Cops one time, and then I got this backstory from Running with Cops podcast. Dan Tabernsky.
Oh, Dan Tabernsky.
Yeah, he does a good podcast, guys. If you haven't.
Yeah.
But so I guess they were in Spokane, Washington. I believe it was Spokane. They were in a town filming, and they hadn't got any content that whole week. It was the last night the crew was there. So they pulled this guy over. He was outside like a recovery house kind of thing, like a sober living house.
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting there in his car, chatting with his girlfriend or whatever. The cops roll up and they start searching him. Search. Then they finally found, like a little speck in the car or something, right? Well, they tested this speck 7 different times. Came back negative every time, but the 7th time, there was a little bit of a color change. So they arrested this guy, all that stuff, brought him in, and found out it was it wasn't the right thing. So he outed him for that or whatever. But just the kind of shady things that they do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So he's out. I think he learned his lesson. He probably won't be pranking any cops ever again.
I mean, here's the thing. You're a grown-ass adult in university.
He's 21 years old. He's not grown-ass adult. He's fucking kid still.
Well, clearly, mentally, he's a child.
Clearly.
That's a university senior, 21 years old. He's been at university for 4 years.
Yeah.
And he thinks something like that's going to be funny. I don't find it funny. It seems like a waste of time. But, like, what a moron. Why would you do that? Yeah,
I know. So I got another little about the false positives and stuff. So a bird watcher was arrested when her sage tested positive for marijuana.
She's just walking around with sage in her pocket.
Bird watchers are weird brunch already.
That's true.
And then another in 2013, 25-year-old Coney Island man, his Jolly Ranchers tested positive for meth. He was arrested.
Jolly Ranchers?
Yeah, a Minnesota man was arrested when his vitamin powder tested positive for amphetamines. So like,
so those roadside or
don't trust them. Like they're I don't even know why you got them. Like what the heck, you know what I mean?
That seems like a pretty high fail rate.
It does, and it's like those are 4 different cases where people got, and sure you got charged. It's costing you money to go to court to prove your innocence for something that they're doing incorrectly.
Damage to your reputation.
Damage to your reputation. All this stuff. So it's BS if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love that.
Yeah, so sorry that's happened to you guys. Hopefully you lawyered up. And yeah, you got the charges dropped.
Yeah, I hear some civil suit money coming their way. Okay. So everyone's heard of those situations, or like, I know I have anyways, people taking someone else's lunch from the lunchroom or the lunch fridge in an office setting or wherever you work. You know, they got a community fridge, everyone puts their stuff in.
I just like envision like people like write it, you know what I like when you see like you write your name on it.
You write your name on stuff.
Like, that's all
straight up. So one office,
this sounds like something out of The Office so far. You know what I mean?
So at this office, someone had been stealing lunches, drinks, and even 60 pounds of deer sausage.
Ooh,
okay, first of all, I have questions.
Who's got 60 pounds of deer sausage?
There we go. That's the question. That's a very odd thing to bring to work, but hey, whatever. Out of the break room fridge for about a year. So everyone's complaining. So
sorry, did you say this was going on for a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone's complaining. Finally, the manager's like, the guy in charge is like, you know what? We're going to do a sting operation on this fridge.
Yeah.
So
took you a year to think that plan up, bud?
So last November, the office worker Kevin Yang was caught on video taking an unopened Monster Energy drink out of the break room fridge. That fridge was marked with someone's initials.
Okay.
So the guy, Kevin, told investigators he took it upon himself to keep the fridge clean. So he's just trying to clean out the fridge.
Monsters are good for like years. How's that go bad? Like,
yeah, I don't know. A lot of times we clean up the community fridge like once a week. Everything, if it's not taken by Friday. But what if it's Friday? And what if that's your lunch? And what if you're on like an afternoon shift?
Yeah.
So on Fridays, they're just throwing everything out.
What if you plan on working the weekend? And I would be choked. Like, so like I've worked construction and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like where you don't have access to food. And if somebody like stole my freaking lunch and that's all I brought for the day, and that's all I had, and like I couldn't get another meal, I would be freaking choked,
like I often like to chow down on 60 pounds of deer sausage over the weekend.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, okay, I'm sorry. You can say you're cleaning out the fridge. Nobody's putting 60 pounds of deer sausage in there just for looks.
No.
And forgetting that it's there. No. Anyways.
No, I know I got 60 pounds. I'm weighing that.
So he's caught, and he explains it to the higher up and says, hey, like, this is what we're doing. Okay, so they're like.
So I'm just doing a good deed, good Samaritan here, cleaning the fridge, eating the bad food.
Cut it out. Stop doing that. Don't do it.
I thought you were talking to me for a second.
But then, a week later, it happened again. He was caught on camera taking a bag from a sandwich shop marked with another person's initials. Then again, a couple days after that, 3 or 4 days later, he's seen taking another Monster Energy drink.
He likes his Monster.
Once again, marked with someone's initials. So, the higher-ups at the office authorized the video sting because the thefts had gone on for so long. Mm-hmm. The conversations in the hallways and during briefings and meetings, people's frustrations and aggravations with the fact that it kept occurring was it was a huge topic of conversation. Everyone's getting pissed off.
Well, yeah, you go to get your lunch and it's not there. Like now you've got DoorDash or whatever. I would be choked.
So, I mean, we're all thinking it's him and that it is what it is. So investigators set up a hidden camera in the fridge this time. They're like, okay, we've told him.
So he opens it up and it's there kind of deal, right?
I guess he can't see it because this dumbass is still stealing Monster Energy drinks marked with initials of other people.
He's feeding his addiction, folks.
Yes, so they brought him in and he said, they brought him in and said, like, hey, we told you to cut this out, like, stop doing it, and you're still doing it. So, Officer Yang, yes, this was a police station.
Okay.
Officer Yang has been put on a 30-day unpaid suspension.
Thank God they're not paying him.
And he is facing misdemeanor theft charges.
Ooh.
The chief says no matter what's stolen or where, theft is theft.
Yep. Yeah. And you're an officer.
Yeah. I mean, they should be held to a higher standard.
100%.
He said, when you're not putting anything in and you're constantly taking things out, it becomes clear to us that you are knowingly doing this and it's against the law.
Well, when you're not putting in and just taking out, there's an issue.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you're a police officer.
I feel like I wouldn't go back after my 30 days.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say.
I just feel like
I don't think I'm coming back after those 30 days.
Oh, man, it's awkward.
You are going to be the only topic of conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here comes the fridge thief. Everybody hide your lunch.
Hide your lunch. Johnny's here. What's the Kevin's here?
What I don't understand, okay, he's a police officer. First of all, when they caught you the first time, you should have cut it out then.
Well, they're on to you.
Then they catch
you
you again. And you fluff it off. Nobody wants you to clean the community fridge, Kevin Yang.
No, I'm sure the janitor does.
Leave it alone.
They have a cleaning crew coming, I'm sure.
If there's something rotten in there, maybe it needs to be dealt with, but we don't need you and your cleaning crew.
Sidebar. I had a friend when we had food that was going bad in the fridge. My mom would tell us to bring this friend over, and she would feed him literally everything going bad. He would eat it, no problem. He had iron stomach. And so we had that guy clean out our fridge for us.
Wow.
He was no Kevin Yang, but
I should hook him up with Kevin Yang because apparently I just like the audacity. You've been caught once. That wasn't good enough for you. You're a police officer. You don't think they're going to try and do something?
they're on to you.
You're a police officer. Be smarter than that, man. I don't know. I'm just like, and how could you walk back into that office, man?
You're not.
No.
You're not walking back into that.
No, you're not walking back in.
So transfer, please, folks.
Yeah.
Take a transfer.
I'll take a transfer.
Yeah, transfer. They got good lunches over here, I heard. Okay. I got one last one here. And I want you to picture this. Close your eyes if you're driving, folks on the road, please. You're young, 25 years old, living in South Carolina. You're just living your best life. You have one dream and one dream only, okay? And that's to be a professional wrestler like your father. Okay? That's what you want to do.
Okay, that's your big dream.
Yeah. So we've got Megan Danielle Holman, a future hopeful professional wrestler. Father's Dan Holman. He's a physical education teacher at an elementary school. So I don't know.
So not a famous wrestler?
Not a famous wrestler. No, I tried to look up to him. He's not a famous wrestler. He's often seen online promoting wrestling events in his community.
Oh, we're talking about like athletic wrestling, not like the WWE wrestling.
No,
like
it is like
wrestling.
Low-level wrestling. Okay. Not like Olympic-style wrestling. No, this is low-level WWE wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get back to Megan becoming a wrestler here, okay?
Sorry.
So there is only one way to make this happen, right? What do you think that way is?
I can't even imagine.
Well, one would think maybe training, get some ring time. Well, from what I understand, the method she went isn't the traditional route. But I'm no professional wrestler, okay? I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I just watch it on TV occasionally. So Megan, she needed to complete a scavenger hunt to show what she had to make it to the wrestling. Yeah, she had to do a scavenger hunt. This was what she needed to do to make it.
Confused.
Yeah, me too. So part of the scavenger hunt consisted of driving a silver Power Wheels truck to the checkpoints.
She just made up the scavenger hunt herself?
I don't know. No, I didn't get into that detail.
Okay.
No, I'm not even sure if there really was a scavenger
hunt.
Okay. The police were curious and decided to pull her over and investigate the situation. He said this grown woman driving Power Wheels. Like, I don't even think my leg would fit in a Power Wheel, let alone like a full person.
Well,
right?
Gotta see this girl.
Yeah, it's not every day you see a grown woman driving around a kid's Power Wheel, right? So they pull her over. Well, it turns out she was going to have a few road pops along the way at the checkpoint, stopping in, have a little beer, a little shot or whatever, right?
In a Power Wheel?
In a Power Wheel, yeah. So she was arrested after she failed the standard DUI tests.
In a Power Wheel.
Power Wheels, yeah, silver Power Wheels. Let's not forget it was silver.
Okay.
So yeah, she did, however, get a free pass in the sense that she was not arrested for DUI, given that she was behind the wheel of a toy and not an actual vehicle.
Right.
Yeah. So she was charged with public intoxication, though.
Oh, a dip.
Yeah. So she was released the same day on a personal recognition bond.
Recognizance bond?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I did some creeping. Okay.
Okay.
Her dad's got a website. He owns C-Pro Entertainment for 28 years. That's a wrestling promotion company.
Okay.
This website is something else.
Oh, this website was made in 1998.
Yes, it is probably the worst. 94, there's not 93. And I don't think it's been updated since 93. There's Big Mabel there. That guy's actually really famous.
You're the 4,848th person to visit the site.
This year.
Oh, this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a horrible site. It is probably the worst website.
I mean, at some point when the internet started, this is what they all looked
Summer
like.
Jam 07, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's
doing updates to it. So it's probably one of the worst websites I've ever seen. If you need a website, reach out. I can help you out, bro. I do them in my spare time. But yeah, so I don't really believe her father was like, I mean, I wouldn't want to fall under his steps because he doesn't look like he's made it in the wrestling game. You know what I mean? Like he's no Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, none of that. So I mean, maybe you could be a teacher like your dad. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's look up to the teacher thing. I get it.
Yeah. So that's where we're gonna close off today, folks. I had a great time today. We had some great stories. I really loved yours. Anything you want to let folks out there know?
I want more information on Colton Harrismore. I'm looking him up after this.
I am going to find out for sure. I'll try and we'll try and do some updates to these cases as we go. Probably do some Patreon stuff. But thank you so much for listening, guys. Please leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you are. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Do it all. We like it. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and enjoy your day today. Thank you very much. Small time crime.
Out.